Have you ever gone to a listing appointment and not known what to do? Or maybe you haven't even showed up to a listing appointment because you've been too nervous about what the outcome could be. Well, grab your notebook and start taking some notes because today we're going to discuss how to win sellers at the listing appointment. First and most importantly, you're going to want to make sure to prepare. That is going to be the most important step because you don't want to show up to a listing appointment unprepared. And the best way to do this is by practicing. I know it sounds a little crazy. You're going to practice in front of your husband or kids or something like that about how to sell their house, but practicing definitely makes perfect. The second one is make sure that you have your documents ready. There are definitely a lot of documents you could print. The listing agreement, I would not suggest being one of them. Print out the CMA, that's going to be super important for your sellers. Your net sheet, they love seeing that, especially the ones that are interested in numbers. Then there's going to be the documents that you show you're going to represent them well. Take all of those documents with you. I just keep them in my car and ready to go. And then we show up to the listing appointment and go from there. Once you have all those documents ready to go, make sure that you send the marketing kit. This should be a booklet of everything that the seller is going to expect from you. And you're going to want to send this before the listing appointment. So it's best to schedule the listing appointment maybe 2 to 3 days in advance. So you can at least have time to drop it off on their doorstep. If not, then you might have some time to mail it. But most importantly, make sure the seller gets it prior to you showing up at least a day in advance so they have some time to review it and already know that they want to go with you as their agent. The last part of the listing appointment is the one that your seller is usually going to be most interested in, and that is the net sheet and the CMA. They usually want to bring this up towards the beginning of the listing appointment, and I'll be like, oh, I'll get to that. We'll go over the other fun stuff first. But most sellers love to see what they're going to walk away with. So always, always, always make sure that you include a net sheet with your preparation. If you're not sure of how much they owe on the mortgage, that's okay. You can just do it as a zero mortgage and explain at the listing agreement. This does not include what you owe on your mortgage. And I usually do this anyways because it always changes every month. And so I don't want to put something on there that could end up being different if they decide to sell 6 months from now. So on the net sheet, I actually have a graph and it looks really pretty with colors and sellers love to see it. So it has everything broken down, the closing costs, and I do that with a 6% commission on the net sheet. And then I include if the buyer asks for roughly $5,000 in closing costs, just that way they can get an idea for worst case scenario. I go over at the end, and then I also review the CMA and how I came up with that number. Of course, you're going to want to ask your seller, what do they feel like as far as the numbers are concerned? Are you on the same page? If your seller feels like they could sell their house for 500,000 and it's worth 400,000, you're probably going to have a little bit of work to do on the convincing side. Once you're finished with your listing appointment, I do not have them sign the listing agreement. I actually schedule the photos. That's my next uh, scheduling thing, or staging, depending on where you're at in your prep phase. That's phase one, and how the seller wants to move forward. At that photography appointment or the staging appointment, whichever comes first, I will bring the listing appointment or the listing agreement because you already know they're going to go with you. And of course, I don't pay for anything until they sign the listing agreement. So the last step in the overall listing experience to win your seller is the follow up. This is key because you want to make sure that they're always thinking of you. So we actually have a document that I leave behind, especially if they are considering working with another realtor. And it says 9 critical questions to sell your home or to ask your agent before you sell your home. Here is a copy of the 9 critical questions to ask your agent before selling your home. And it has some really great questions in here. And I would suggest leaving this. Hopefully, you're the first person to go. So that way, your client is going to be looking at this document when they're interviewing other agents. You also want to make sure to send a thank you note. And the thank you note is going to really seal the deal. So they have basically your picture on everything, the marketing kit, your 9 critical questions, and then your thank you card. Of course, will have your business card, or it will be branded with your information. So the seller doesn't really have any other choice except to go with you as the listing agent. I'm Tanya with the Sunshine Real Estate team at LPT Realty. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need any additional information. I am more than happy to help. And of course, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.